Thank you. While food fraud is a $52 billion problem worldwide, now you may not think you're affected by it, but let me ask you two questions. Can you trust product labels in supermarkets? What about menus in restaurants? If you're buying fish, unfortunately the answer is no. In fact, at least 30% of the time, what you see on the label is not what you're getting. And there are lots of people affected by this. Of course, consumers are being cheated. Some even get sick. But retailers and wholesalers risk brand reputation and profit loss, while producers have to worry about product withdrawals. Now, all these problems can be greatly mitigated if authenticity could be easily verified throughout the supply chain. And we can help. I'm Sujeevan Ratnasingham, CEO and founder of LifeScanner, where we're using DNA identification to redefine transparency for seafood. I spent the last 10 years leading DNA analysis research at the Center for Biodiversity Genomics, and LifeScanner is one outcome of that work. Our first product is a DNA testing kit that can be used by anyone, anywhere. All that's required is our mobile software and purchase of a kit to submit a food sample for identification. Each kit supports either 2 or 4 tests and is available for $35 and $50. Our second product is a lab in a box that is available for deployment at a warehouse or a port. It is a complete DNA identification lab that's been miniaturized to provide identifications on the spot without the sample or data leaving the company. We expect to have this available for $12,000, with each test costing between $10 and $25. And we're currently looking for a partner to pilot this device. The market for solutions to this problem has been small in the past, around $400 million in the US and Canada, but is about to expand dramatically because of recent legislation in the US that requires that all imported seafood products meet stringent authenticity criteria. Violators face fines and delays in their supply chains, which is a serious problem for a food product that has a short shelf life. Now, although we're starting with fresh seafood, we plan to expand into the prepared seafood market, followed by the pet food market. Together, a $100 billion market opportunity where consumers are asking for, if not demanding, greater assurances around authenticity. Our go-to-market strategy has 3 stages. The first was to provide kits for citizen scientists to highlight the problem to industry. And we've done that now with thousands of fish samples tested from over 400 retail locations across Canada. This is followed by the production of a co-branded kit that can be used by retailers and restaurants. And we have one now with an NGO in this space. And finally, to target wholesalers with the lab in the box, which generates recurring revenue based on replenishment of consumed lab materials. We differentiate ourselves from alternatives with our low barrier to adoption. Our kits require basically 0 training. We also have the most cost-effective solution on the market by a wide margin. And our lab in a box provides a truly secure and private testing solution. During our 9 months of operation, we have assembled a solid roster of customers and partners and have bootstrapped to over 6 figures in operating capital, and we're now putting together a sales playbook. And we have the right team to make this a success. I've led large projects in the research sector. Megan, Jairi, and Andrew bring a diversity of talents and experiences, and our advisors are respected leaders in their fields. And we're looking to add to this team with an advisor around food supply chains to help us take the lab in the box to market. So if you're interested in our kits, a pilot, or have expertise in food supply chains, please get in touch and help us redefine transparency for seafood. Thank you.
All right, it's time for 5 minutes of questions from the judges when you're ready.
So I'm a consumer. Do I
Yes.
use this tool in the store? Or how does that work, the consumer one?
So the kit can be used by eco-conscious individuals who validate stores, and we're essentially collecting that data sort of like a Yelp to be able to make that data available. But primarily, the primary audience is the stores themselves or the restaurants themselves.
So the consumer unit then that you talked about, the
Yes.
$35 one, that isn't so that I can validate whether I'm buying red snapper today. That is about whether my chosen fishmonger is selling the fish that they think they are.
Yes, that's right.
So what happens to the data so if I test it and it's not red snapper, how does that data get to about that retailer?
So it doesn't go back to the retailer directly, it comes back to us, and then we can use that to approach the retailer to do additional testing for them. So the consumer serves as a vehicle for lead generation.
How do you expect the revenue to break down by channel?
We do expect that the majority, or at least our forecasts are that the majority of revenue will come from wholesalers because they have the most to lose and they're going to require the highest frequency of testing. But we expect about a fifth of the revenue to come from retailers and restaurants, and we have a few pilots underway to test that hypothesis.
Does this expand beyond just seafood? For example, if you wanted to test Wagyu beef or any of the other sort of high caliber meats?
It does actually. So it's one of the few solutions on the market that's broad spectrum. You can basically put in anything to test the species identity of. So it could have been used for the horse meat scandal in Europe. It could be used when you're buying sort of exotic meats. And in fact, that's what we find people primarily use it for when we started testing the product.
And you guys have that database already live and it's ready to go?
We do, yes.
First of all, congratulations. I think it's such a huge problem in our country, food transparency.
Thank you.
And I know a lot of people working on trying to ensure better food labeling, et cetera. Can you see this product sort of certification becoming part of the food packaging itself?
I do, but I don't see it as a direct certification approach. So what we're looking to do is partner with existing eco-labels to strengthen their brand. One, it means that our sales strategy is simpler and there's a smaller set of targets to go to. So we've been co-branding more so than creating our own label.
You mentioned you were looking for a partner to
Yes.
commercialize the industry
advisor.
solution? An advisor, okay. So you have already created the equipment and have scalability
We
on
do,
that?
we do.
Do you have a good sense of what your growth and sales strategy would look like from next steps all the way to a global scale?
Sure. So we're still early. We're just wrapping up our bootstrapping phase. So our approach really is to hit wholesalers hard this year with an expectation of revenue around $250,000 next year and then doubling that the following year, just based on market sizes and the surveys that we've done in the market.
And you're focusing on Canada primarily at the start?
We're focusing on Canada primarily because of our location, but we also have partners in the U.S. that we can leverage to expand into that space.
Competitors?
So this is a growing market because consumers definitely care about authenticity, but also care about sustainability. And authenticity ties to that. There are many, I wouldn't say there are many, there are a few competitors in the space, but most of them use an old model. They're either using their own certification or a core lab that just does services. We've taken a somewhat unique approach of hitting it with two two prongs. One is a kit that can provide testing really quickly, an onboarding process, and then a device that can go on site to do that testing. So we differentiate a little bit in that sense.
That's all the time we have for questions.